It's officially been 2 weeks with the Nintendo Switch 2, and I've been playing it quite a bit. I've already put in over 60 hours the past 2 weeks in this console, and I don't really have much bad to say about it. As many of you know, this is the first time I have owned a console since day one, and that's just a very exciting thing for me. Now I'm pretty much going to be spewing out my thoughts here about the system and all that kind of stuff. Hey everyone, it's Colin, and let's dive right into what makes the Switch 2 great. Now starting off, I want to touch on the hardware itself. I just want to talk about the impressions the console's left on me from a more casual perspective. First thing off, the Switch itself is big. It is much larger than the original Switch, and it feels much more premium. Seriously, the difference between the Switch 2 and the original one, heck, even the OLED model, is like clear as day. The new Joy-Cons feel my hands much better, and the materials they're made out of just feel so much of a better quality. And the new magnetic mechanism that they use to attach to the console just feels so much more durable and robust. Don't even get me started on how satisfying it is. The console has 256 gigabytes of storage, which is a very large amount over the previous 32 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes, depending on what model you add. But I still will say you'll probably need one of those SD Express cards, as all the games coming out are typically going to be bigger than the actual game cards itself. They're a lot more demanding on the console, and you're going to be doing a lot of downloads for it. Now the LCD opposed to the OLED wasn't actually as bad of a difference as I thought. This new LCD has HDR support and is at 1080p, so it is a little bit more clear, but the contrast isn't quite as good, but still a very decent panel. It's also 120 Hz, which, depending on what games you play, you might actually get something out of that in the handheld. The biggest thing with the screens though is you're going to notice the difference between the blacks on the OLED and the LCD. They really don't compare to each other. The kickstand is absolutely stellar, and it now has a USB-C port on the top. This allows you to charge in tabletop mode and use some third-party accessories while it's in the dock. This is where they kind of start using that new camera for the system, but any USB camera will suffice. Even standard USB-A cameras, you just have to plug it into the USB ports on the side of the dock. The dock itself is pretty much the exact same thing, only it can take more power and it actually has a fan built into the back of it. Which most times you can actually hear the console kicking in the gear, but never the dock. It almost makes me question if there's actually a fan inside of it. Now the console itself is very sleek. I'm a very big fan of the colored accents with the matte black finish. It just seems more formal or more adult, for lack of better terms. Now let's get into the more nitty gritty and the software side of things. The UI is pretty much exactly the same as the old one. There's barely any difference between the old Switch UI and the new one, so much so that you might even load it up without noticing. Now the big changes though are going to be when it comes to load times. The eShop itself has had a massive improvement. And when it comes to actual games, the first one I bought of course was Mario Kart World. I also ended up picking up the upgrade packs for both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I got Splatoon 3 about a week in once they were going to roll out that 4K upgrade patch, and it's been very fun playing that game as I really enjoyed the second one. But first off, let's go into Mario Kart World. It's a super fun game, and I've been playing Knockout Tour non-stop. It's the best mode I've ever played in a Mario Kart game, and it's really not that close. The course variety you get while going through one of these races, as well as the fact that it's just continuous, makes it so enjoyable. It's seriously insanely versatile, and it makes the experience just that much better. The character variety is insane, now only featuring characters inside the Mario universe. Unfortunately, they got rid of Link, but now you can play as characters such as Mario, of course, but you know, you have the penguin and the cow from Moo Moo Meadows. So I'm honestly not that mad about it. You can also unlock different costumes for most all racers. With all this being said though, I am one that can get a little bored of Mario Kart with time, and after 15 hours of that game, I've started to run my limit pretty thin. Moving on to the next thing, I've played about 10 to 15 hours of Tears of the Kingdom, and well, it runs buttery smooth and looks amazing. It's genuinely a big change of pace from its Switch 1 counterpart. I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom since release, and it's very nice and refreshing to be able to go back to it. I plan to dive straight into this game a little bit further in the upcoming weeks, so be sure to stay tuned for that. I've played some Smash with all my friends. That pretty much runs the exact same as the original Switch, except the load times are a lot faster. Still hoping they roll out a 4K patch for that game. And like I've mentioned, I've been on Splatoon 3. I've gone so hooked on this game just like I did the second one 6 years ago. And overall, it's really oddly satisfying. I don't know if I necessarily prefer this entry to the second one, as I believe the maps are a little bit stronger in the second game, but only time will tell with that one. What I do know is the visuals are a lot better, and that buttery smooth 60 frames per second everywhere you go is a very warm welcome. This is a game I see myself playing for many weeks to come, and I might end up talking about it soon as well. Last thing I really wanted to touch on was the new software that is the game chat. This feature works exactly how you'd expect it to. The mic on the console itself is a very good quality, and the noise suppression is very impressive. To everyone I play with, it seems like I'm using a headset as well as what I hear from everyone else as well. It's to the point I don't even know if I'll end up picking up a headset because it works so well. I do have two complaints with this system though. The first one is you have to redo your settings every single time. What that means is when you first get into a game chat, you will always go to the default little title screen, and if you want to full screen your game and not have their little icons below, you have to go in and manually do that every single time, as well as manually adjust the volume on each player every single time they join. So if Nintendo's going to start charging for this, they should probably take a page out of Discord's book and start having some of those settings saved. The next one would be that you can't invite any friends if you're already in a party chat. What this means is you have to fully leave the party, invite everyone you want to join the party, and then go back into a new one. So if a friend gets on and you only have a party chat with one person, you have to create an entirely new party instead of just inviting the other player. This is a feature that pretty much every console is offered from the Xbox 360 and onward, so there's no reason it shouldn't be here on the Switch too. And these are more like minor inconveniences because it is really quick to fix them, but it does get annoying with time. And it is brand new for Nintendo, so I'm sure they'll end up releasing an update that fixes these things in the future. But I do seriously believe that if they're going to charge for the service, they got to flesh it out a little bit more than this. And also just a random note, the Pro Controller. The Pro Controller itself is actually a huge step up over its predecessor. It feels a lot more robust, it has two buttons on the back, and it now has a headphone jack on the bottom. The thumbsticks are also much quieter and feel a lot more premium and tight. I really have nothing to complain about with the new Pro Controller outside of the fact that it's a little pricey. But nonetheless, I do think it's a necessity if you're going to be playing your Switch on your TV a lot. Like, I don't know if you can hear this, but the thumbsticks are actually insanely quiet. Speaking of the extra buttons on the back, they're mappable to any button on the controller. So in a game like Splatoon, this helps a lot when you don't want to take your hands off the thumbsticks when you're aiming, if you need to dodge roll with the splat dualies, or say yes to the booyah bomb, that sort of thing. A very welcome addition. And also it is good to mention that any of your old Switch controllers that are wireless and first party will work on the Switch too. The Joy-Cons can connect wirelessly because they don't rail on the new way, and the old Pro Controller works just fine as well. The only thing you're going to be missing is going to be that chat button that's on the new ones. That being said, it's very nice to not have to go out and buy all new controllers, as all my other ones are still fine. So big props to Nintendo for that. Also, the Switch 2 Pro Controller has the exact same life as the original Pro Controller, but charges to 100% in half the time. 3 hours of charge will get you 40 hours of gameplay, which is a awesome trade-off. Speaking of battery life, let's talk about the consoles real quick. The console itself lasts a little over 2 hours when playing games like Cyberpunk or Mario Kart. When playing the Zelda upgrade packs or Splatoon 3, I've gauged actually about 2.5 hours with that. Although there has been reports of issues with the battery sensors that can or cannot be fixed with the system. They're saying that the battery percentage you see may not actually be the amount of battery in the console. An easy way to fix this is by powering off your console all the way, turning it on while holding both volume buttons down, booting into recovery mode, simply just powering off from the recovery menu and booting it back up. This somehow fixes the battery indicator. It worked for me. It's been working for a lot of other people. If you still have this issue, probably means your console is going to have to go to service. It is a little sad that the new console doesn't even have half the battery life of the OLED model. That being said, it is above the competition in this area, with the Steam Deck getting around 2 hours as well. The ROG Ally, when I had it, only got about 1 hour. So I'll take these more powerful games at the trade-off of battery life. The Switch 2 was looking very promising for a fully fledged future. I will say that I wish there was more software at launch that made me really excited about it outside of Mario Kart, but that'll only come with time, because right now I mainly find myself playing original Switch games that just have performance upgrades, so nothing really new is being experienced for me. When the likes of Final Fantasy VII Remake come out, or Metroid 4, I bet that'll really help showcase the power of the system for me. And like I said, it does feel next gen compared to the original. We were very much due for an upgrade, and I look forward to all the ports that'll be coming over, like Elden Ring. And I'll be playing them on my new console and ready to talk about them. With all that being said, that's pretty much all my thoughts on the Switch 2. And yeah, I'll see you next time on The Pixel Critic.
Dude, they just run like pussies, bro.